Why do you lie like this, Blake? Why? Why do you do this? Do you understand? You are not smarter than the internet.
This isn't going to end well for you, Blake. Sorry.
The litigation war between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively has reached a boiling point, with Baldoni striking a series of legal punches that have surprised Hollywood. What began as a passionate dispute has developed into a full-fledged litigation. Meltdown for Blake, complete with leaked film, unforeseen legal twists, and a swelling list of contradictions in his charges. Baldoni is turning the tables and the courtroom is getting heated. How did this all happen? Why is Blake's legal team panicked? And how did Baldoni damage Blake's case so completely? Let's look over the most recent dramatic developments in this intense court feud.
You're basically saying you're a liar. You misrepresent who you are.
That's control. That's selfishness. That's entitlement. This woman is a monster.
The first major blow came when Justin Baldoni's legal team presented footage that utterly contradicted Blake Lively's earlier comments. This unexpected revelation caused Blake's lawyers to amend their claim in a frantic quest to recover. Legal experts pointed out that the tape showed behind-the-scenes moments, showing that Blake's claims were not as solid as she had claimed. The last-minute revisions to Blake's complaint came across as reactionary, eroding her credibility and giving Baldoni an advantage.
None of it was just due to the fact that she seems like a rather shitty person.
In the court of public opinion, they've lost.
Just when it seemed the case couldn't be any more dramatic, a shocking twist was disclosed. Both legal teams provided conflicting evidence, but Baldoni's attorneys offered more thorough paperwork and stronger witness testimony. Blake's attempts to rebut the evidence were ineffective, with courtroom sources remarking that her team appeared considerably shaken. This turning point not only boosted Baldoni's stance, but it also raised public scrutiny of Blake's legal practices.
And note the consequence has been terrible for Blake and Ryan in terms of people following them. This is insane. What are you talking about? She genuinely is not aware of how insane she sounds.
Things grew worse when Blake rejected to be deposed by Baldoni's legal team, arguing that the lawyer's tough questioning method was too cruel. Her reticence aroused eyebrows, with many interpreting it as an attempt to avoid confronting harsh truths under oath. Judicial experts condemned the decision, stressing that declining to participate in regular judicial proceedings rarely ends well for the party under pressure.
There's a lot of comments that she puts in here that you're just like, why would you want to take over someone's movie? The outfits in this end are so out of touch. No, we don't want to watch bullies like Blake. But Blake Lively, much more different culturally, more about the power and thinking that this is about the feminist Me Too movement. How dare you do this?
Blake's team filed new court documents in an attempt to regain momentum, but they did not produce the smoking evidence that her supporters expected. While the documents confirmed previous accusations, they lacked precise evidence, making it impossible for Blake's legal team to effectively substantiate their claims. This absence of actual evidence raised skepticism, hurting their case in court. The lack of compelling new information helped Baldoni's side to preserve their lead. Baldoni's persistent presentation of reliable data proceeded to impact the court proceedings considerably in his favor. His capacity to present clear, verifiable proof contrasted dramatically with Blake's dependence on imprecise assertions and unproven claims. As a result, Blake's error, or perhaps oversight, was considered as another Baldoni victory. Supporters on both sides kept a tight check on the case, with many anticipating that the latest finding may tilt the scales substantially in favor of Baldoni, unless Blake's team produced a stronger plan going ahead.
So I found that incredibly telling. Hidden in a little footnote, her protection that, well, you know, I was told they were lawfully obtained. Yikes. Big yikes.
That's insane and that's crazy. And this is a reason why I think in the future people are just not going to work with her, because it's starting to add up. People are realizing that this is a pathology.
Parties, of course, meeting for the first time in court today. It was about a 90-minute hearing.
I will happily participate in releasing any further leaks that they have, because the truth should be out there.
Judge chose to not impose the gag order on Justin Baldoni's attorney Brian Friedman today, but did threaten to move up the trial if the media press war continued.
I don't like your lawyer, and I don't want to sit down with him and answer questions and tell the truth. So she's trying to get out of having to sit down and be deposed by Brian Friedman. Like, sweetheart, that's not your option.
So she's a serial fraudster. That's called fraud. She's a Me Too victim there. That's absurd.
He is, his agent is Ari Emanuel. He's a powerful Hollywood guy, and we all respond to Hollywood power. And there's a hypocrisy and a fraudulence there that the public is picking up on. And so that's really interesting. Now, you are not smarter than the internet.
Perhaps the most agonizing moment happened when Baldoni's legal team pointed out discrepancies in Blake's allegations by cross-referencing her past interviews, on-set agreements, and legal filings. Baldoni highlighted how Blake's allegations had evolved in suspicious ways over time. Observers in the courtroom observed how obviously anxious Blake's legal team appeared as Baldoni's lawyers combed through the contradictions.
It's part of being in the public eye. She's just used to being Hollywood's golden girl, and she had such thin skin that after having a couple negative things happen to her for a month, she had to blame him. She decided to blame him. And boy, did she open up a hornet's nest and learn, be careful what you wish for, because now you've got the fight you asked for and you're not winning it.
Is they're watching everyone on TikTok, they're watching everyone on Instagram say, what you did is not okay. And they're standing in front of the world and they're saying, we can't be canceled because we're too connected. So what? Sorry for the rest of you guys. Sorry for the rest of you idiots who are beneath us. We just have to make a phone call to Ari Emanuel and we can get into a skit, and how we treat people doesn't matter. The public noticed. The public noticed that things were weird and things began to backfire on you, okay? If Brian Friedman subpoenas Taylor Swift's text messages, wink, wink, that's what I want, that's what I want to see, and it reveals that actually Taylor Swift was LOLing with Blake Lively about being a dragon. She was like, yeah, I'm a dragon. Rawr. And she was like plotting the takeover of the movie. Well, Blake Lively's team is essentially requesting the right for their attorney to just designate that AEO, attorney eyes only, because that might unfairly harm the reputation of Taylor Swift.
Why has this judicial conflict lasted on so long? According to individuals close to the subject, Blake is still firm about not settling. She appears confident in her abilities to outmaneuver Baldoni with her ways, feeling that time is on her side. However, as the days advance into weeks, it becomes evident that Baldoni's obsessive search of the truth is taking a toll on her. With additional legal fees stacking up and public opinion shifting against her, Blake is under increasing strain. Some of her closest supporters are apparently asking her to reconsider her views. They advise her that continuing on this path could result in considerably bigger losses, both financially and reputationally. The longer the suit drags on, the more it appears evident that Baldoni's determination may eventually prevail. Will Blake accept their advice and cut her losses before things spiral out of control? Only time will tell, but one thing is clear: the stakes are higher than ever.
The context of that exchange shows that they're out there combating lies.
It does not reference third parties or expressly apply its process to them. So they're saying it doesn't go far enough. Taylor Swift won't be protected.
She's basically saying that she does not want to sit down for a deposition with Brian Friedman. Like, I know that this girl grew up rich and privileged, but how rich we talking? You know what I'm saying? Because does she think she's like a princess that she can just be like, I don't like your lawyer?
The public was divided, with supporters of both superstars taking sides. However, when more damning material surfaces, Baldoni's popularity grows. People are flocking to social media to criticize Blake's legal maneuvers, accusing her of playing the victim while making conflicting claims. One viral tweet even joked, "Only a time machine can save Blake Lively from herself," stressing the common perception that her case is unraveling swiftly.
That's a pretty strong argument. Now you're saying like anything being revealed to the public would be too much, but weren't you guys the one that like made like a whole movie, Deadpool, about what was happening? Your whole thing was a publicity tour. You know, it's giving like a never-ending publicity tour, but I want my privacy, Meghan Markle type vibes. Like, is there a little bit of a conflict between the words coming out of your attorney's mouths and your actions?
Justin does a better job, in my opinion, of providing receipts and showing full context.
They're saying, we're just like to remind the public that it was clearly her team who leaked private text messages and leaked emails without any due process at all to the New York Times. So why are they coming at us pretending that like, oh, such a thing could potentially ruin careers.
She claims he sexual harassed her, and then by the time they premiered the movie, they weren't even speaking to each other. She made him stay in the basement, and Ryan Reynolds turned on him too. And then she claimed that he unleashed a bad PR campaign against her.
Prominent attorneys studying the case have stated that Blake's strategy was flawed from the beginning. Her reliance on emotive pleas over sound facts has put her at a severe disadvantage in her court struggle. Experts note that, while emotional, pleadings could be useful in some cases, they lack the weight of concrete evidence, which is important for changing judicial decisions. On the other hand, Baldoni's team has chosen a thorough and disciplined approach, emphasizing real facts, specific timetables, and undeniable proof. Legal analysts say this is the major reason Baldoni is obtaining an advantage in this protracted dispute. By prioritizing clarity and precision, his team has developed a better, more credible story. This contrast in strategy underlines the need of preparation and evidence-based arguments in high-stakes cases. As the proceedings go, it becomes evident that Blake's reliance on emotion alone may not be adequate to counterbalance Baldoni's systematic presentation of facts, which appears to be connecting more effectively with decision-makers.
He really sees us all the way through and makes sure we get to discovery and proves how disgusting some of these high-level celebrities can be.
She is accused of having turned the whole cast of It Ends With Us against Justin.
When the entire reason we got here was because you tried to play this in the press. Like, you went to the New York Times to try to take him down and to set a public narrative. And now that it's backfiring, you want out.
And I would say another reason that the public didn't respond well to this was because we have already accurately deduced that the both of you are raging narcissists. And that's just public fodder. You guys don't need to know that. It's deeply embarrassing.
I didn't like him. Just gonna be straight with you. I didn't fucking like him. So they're both equally repulsive.
In an unexpected courtroom moment, Baldoni delivered a heartfelt speech that resonated with the audience. His words were authentic and honest, and they struck a deep chord with everyone present. Blake, on the other hand, took a more protective posture, which contrasted strikingly with his generally calm and quiet personality. Observers couldn't help but watch how Blake's manner shifted subtly as the proceedings advanced, almost as if he was bracing for concealed issues. Meanwhile, Baldoni's genuineness and willingness to tackle unpleasant questions enhanced his standing even further. The mood in the conference got tense, but genuinely moving as both guys handled their roles in this unfolding drama. Baldoni's basics approach definitely produced an impression on both the audience and those closely following the case. This stunning combination of sensitivity and strength became a distinguishing element of the day's events, forcing observers to examine the subtleties of human emotion and tenacity.
I know this gets overused now, but she did FAFO. Like, she thought she could blame all of her negative press on him. He's a weakling. She's Blake Lively with Ryan Reynolds, her dragon.
They're sort of radioactive. In one breath, Blake Lively is saying she was the subject of serious sexual harassment during the filming of It Ends With Us, and now they're making light of it on SNL's 50th reunion show. So tonally, it does seem off, and I can imagine people just wanting to stay away from it. You're going to catch shrapnel if you get involved in this drama at this point.
In an unexpected courtroom moment, Baldoni offered a poignant speech that struck a chord with those in attendance. Blake's increasingly guarded posture contrasted dramatically with his calm, cool attitude. Observers remarked that Baldoni's openness and willingness to face uncomfortable questions bolstered his position.
He's surrounded by friends because he's a very small, insecure man. And so what makes Ryan feel good about himself is money and power.
Blake's Lively's complaint of harassment. He called me sexy. I felt so uncomfortable. Why would you do that? Well, here's one point where she's calling him a ball buster. I'm just a ball buster.
With momentum clearly on Baldoni's side, Blake now stands a tough crossroads in her legal battle. She must decide whether to continue fighting what many perceive as an uphill struggle, or to take a step back and focus on rebuilding her public image, which has suffered tremendously as a result of these actions. Legal watchers feel that unless Blake's legal team can present convincing new evidence, something substantial that shifts the narrative in her favor, the chances of overcoming Baldoni's courtroom dominance are remote. The upcoming hearings will surely be critical, acting as a potential watershed point for both parties. However, based on prior trends and outcomes in this instance, Baldoni appears to be nearly unstoppable due to her strategic brilliance and imposing presence. Observers are watching Blake intently to see how she handles this high-stakes situation. as her every move may either shift the direction of the case or cement Baldoni's victory.
Because what's actually funny to him is not the sexual harassment. What's funny to him is that he found a tool to be able to stage a hostile takeover of a business. And they were high. They were totally high on their own supply of power. They were enjoying it. They were enjoying humiliating Justin Baldoni. Like I said, they got so close. They're just girl bossing it. They're just like, wear your florals. We're going to file an amendment. It's going to be cute. We're going to give you so much emotion. It's going to feel good.
What began as a hard situation has now turned into what appears to be a full breakdown for Blake Lively. The situation looked horrible, with Justin Baldoni adopting a deliberate and determined technique that has left Blake's case in shambles. From leaked footage to humiliating contradictions in her statements, mixed with poor legal strategies, it is becoming increasingly obvious that Baldoni is not only winning, but dominating this battle, both in the courts and in the court of public opinion. Based on the material in the legal files from both parties, Blake's situation does not appear to be improving. Unless she had some form of smoking gun under her sleeve, a revelation so strong that it may radically change the tide, the chances look to be stacked overwhelmingly against her. And let's be honest, if such evidence existed, we would have seen it by now. It's been months, and there has been no evidence of a game-changing development on her end. Meanwhile, public perception continues to evolve. Initially, Hollywood was hesitant to take sides, maybe for fear of offending either group. However, since Baldoni has spoken out publicly, it looks that individuals are beginning to disassociate themselves from Blake. Whether it's because of the accumulating evidence against her, or just because they know which way the wind is blowing, her audience appears to be diminishing. This loss of support is enormous, especially in an industry where public image routinely influences outcomes, even outside of conventional judicial settings. As Blake's legal team struggles to salvage what remains of her case, many wonder if she still has a shot for redemption, or at least damage control. One thing is certain, Justin Baldoni shows no indications of giving up. His tactics have been persistent, meticulous, and devastatingly effective. Unless Blake pulls off a miracle, a last-minute twist that defies all expectations, this lawsuit may go down as one of the most devastating legal battles Hollywood has seen in recent years. If you want to be up to current on this escalating drama, you may listen to my podcast where I evaluate the newest developments in detail. It live streams on YouTube Monday through Friday and is also available on different platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and others. Whether you're wanting for analysis, remark, or simply remaining current, you'll find tons of material there. And don't worry, if Blake discovers the elusive smoking gun, you'll be the first to know.